بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So I'm going to basically piggyback off of what he said because I think it was quite inspirational and just kind of mention some of the challenges that we find that are in the West that will eventually we would assume make their way across the world. And they have this saying in or this idea for people that play ice hockey. I know this is probably the worst example in Malaysia, but if you play ice hockey, they have a puck that you hit with a stick, and they say that you have to skate to where you think the puck will be, right? Not where it's going to be hit from, but where you think it's going to go. One of the things that when Hamza was mentioning strategic thinking, we don't just want to say here are the issues that are coming from the West, and then that finishes there. We want to say, these are the issues that are coming, and we want you to prepare for them ahead of time. Many of the issues that arise, we end up being reactionary. We react, and we're not proactive. Okay? So some of the issues that are there that may have reached here or not, I don't know. But you have issues related to, let's say, postmodernism. Now, postmodernism, even people in the US, when I ask Muslims there, they don't really know what it is. They say post-modernism, that which is after modernism. But what they don't realize is that that is a type of framework of knowledge that has implications on the political reality in the United States.
Yes.
People say, how did Trump win? Well, how Trump won is because you had a type of thinking which is postmodernist, and this thinking was started to now force onto people. Right? So I'll give you an example. When people say, who is the one, how do we understand truth? Now, this may seem like a very high level, like, what do you mean? Like, what does truth mean? Now, the thing is, truth for us would be something very simple, right? You have that which is true and that which is false. 2 + 2 is equal to 4. This is an objectively true statement. When you look at postmodernism, they now say that, look, the truth is relative. And this truth that's relative, the reason why it is relative, now this is where it ties into modernism and a reaction to modernism, is because when you look at who defines truth, it was Europeans who were oppressive. Now look where they're coming from. European, white men that were oppressive. They dictated what is truth and what is not truth. Okay? Now, they put aside objective truth and they say, therefore, what truth is not what we call objective truth. What truth is, it depends on your state of oppression. So truth is not based on whether something is true, it's based on a power differential. So who has the right to give truth now? All right? They have a hierarchy. At the bottom of this hierarchy are white men. Why? Because they were the oppressors. They said science is the way, this is truth, this is objectivity. They're at the bottom. If someone is oppressed, they have a level up. So if you're a white woman, you have more, you tell the truth more than this white man. Okay? If you're a black woman, now you have a higher level. If you're a black woman who's a lesbian, now your oppression is even higher. Why? Because, oh yes, this, and so why is that the case? Why this is the case is because they say your experience of oppression is what should be valid, whether it's true or not. Now, what happens is that because of this idea, this gets into many other areas. So the LGBTQ issue arises. The problem is that these issues run against human nature.
Yes.
Right? And so when people were shocked about Donald Trump winning, it wasn't that people in the United States believe that he's some sort of great, amazing guy, very eloquent, and no, he's a fool when you look at him. Basically, right? He's not a very eloquent person. But what they're reacting to are these ideas that come from universities that are teaching this postmodernism. It's a reaction to that. Now the thing is, as Muslims, we have to equip ourselves intellectually, philosophically, to be able to deal with these issues, so that we can be ambassadors to this deen.
No.
Because if we are people of truth, it means that they're going to look around, where's the truth?
Yes.
Who has the ethical keys? And we know that because of our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our understanding of ethics is genuine, is authentic, because it comes from a source that transcends human beings. If the Muslims are saying, okay, no, we're downtrodden, we don't know what to do, these ideas, let's take on liberalism, we want to understand freedom, equality, and all of these terms that come out, and we're on the back foot, when they're looking for the truth, they won't find it. So we have to now go to where the puck is going to be. We have to say, what are the issues that are coming up? Like I mentioned in ice hockey. I'll give you an example of one of those issues that's coming up very quickly that we may not be we may not be ready for. Artificial intelligence. Okay? Artificial intelligence, many people, when they look at technology, they look at it from a arm's length perspective, right? They look at perhaps the good things, and much later, they say, oh, these are some of the issues that came about. When social media was introduced, everyone said, we're going to bind the world together. It'll bring us closer. We can communicate. What nobody thought about was the fact that this is getting into a situation where who are the people that are running social media? And it is an attention economy, meaning they're vying for your attention. Anything that they can give you that'll get your attention, that's what they're looking for. The thing that'll get your attention the most as human beings are things related to your nafs, your desires. They know your desires, marketers, better than you know your desires. So what happens in the context of digital media, in the social media world, you have all of this content that's out there. Your personal content is out there. Your medical history is out there. Your likes and dislikes are out there. Okay? Based on all of that, content is curated. When you're watching YouTube, you want to watch let's say a 2-hour lecture, right? Let's say Shaykhana has a 2-hour lecture on some area of fiqh. You're like, I'm going to watch this lecture. But do you finish the 2-hour lecture? Many people don't. Why? Because they want your attention, and you have other videos that come up, and you say, okay, that's interesting. And you go from one to the next to the next. And pretty soon, what you think that you are, okay, you are a talib al-ilm because you're on YouTube. In fact, you're just jumping from one to the next to the next. You don't have suhbah. You don't have that connection with someone real, and you're really not learning anything. Now, why I'm mentioning this, because this is in the social media context. We didn't understand concepts of like depression and how these. Initially, the technology was very clear. Okay, this is going to benefit us, and this is about even rudimentary technology. I'll give you an example. If you think about where you're sitting right now, we are sitting in this room. Before you had the advent, before there were things like maps that were invented or put together, right? So maps are a technology. People, when they engaged in the world, it was, okay, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to make a right and make a left, and I'm going to meet my neighbor. But once maps come, now your understanding of where you are is based on the map. Because now this is the land, so I am here, right? It's what it's doing to you. It's dictating where you think you are spatially, right? Now that is something simple like a map. And does a map have an ontological reality? In reality, it's very difficult to say, because the map that you see today with Europe on top and Africa on bottom, that comes from a Ptolemaic understanding. There was another cartographer in the Muslim world by the name of Muhammad al-Idrisi, rahimahullah, in the 12th century. He also drew a world map, but his map showed Africa on top and Europe on the bottom. Now, which one was right? Well, we can't really say, because the reason why Muhammad al-Idrisi, rahimahullah, he drew the map the way he did is because for him, Islam was dominant, and Islam was prevalent in Africa. So he draws Africa on top and Europe on the bottom. What about Ptolemy? Ptolemy, Europe was dominant. He draws Europe on top, right? Now, if you go outside the world, which one's up, which one's down? There's no. How are you going to tell what's up and what's down? Does this have an impact on where you think you are? It does. And I'll give you a practical example. In the US, they did a study on what's known as cardinal direction in terms of north and south. And they looked at moving companies. These people that come, they get your stuff, they move your house, and they move you somewhere else. They said that moving companies charged, on average, $200 more to move you from south to north as opposed to north to south. You want to know why? Not because of some sort of studies they did. Because when you think about going from south to north, it's like you're going uphill. It feels hard, right? And when you're going north to south, it feels like you're going quick. So based on this feeling of your space, they said, okay, we'll charge them $200 more, right? So these concepts, now, where does it all start from? It starts from a technology, which is a map, which is a very simple technology. If you think about maps today, you have Google Maps, right? It's not only dictating where you are, it's also telling you where to go. Make a right, make a left, you're a cement now, thought now. Basically, this is how you, right? Then these are simple technologies. Now you look at social media, and now you look at something like AI. If a simple map can have such an impact on where you think you are, how much more is something like artificial intelligence? You know, there's a company that's coming out of the Silicon Valley. They're developing an app, and what this app does is, and what they're marketing it as, is that we will allow you to speak to, if someone has died in your family, to speak to that person, even though they're dead.
Yes, fine.
Can you imagine? Why? Because now they can take 3 seconds. All they need is 3 seconds of your voice. They can construct an entire conversation. They can scour the entire internet and see, okay, this person has this Facebook profile, this Instagram profile, this Pinterest, this. They have all of this information, and you pick up the phone. Let's say your mother has passed away. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you? Do you remember when we went to Disney World and we did this and did this? What kind of a psychological impact will that have on people? Like, how many people will be destroyed because they think they're speaking to their dead relative? And these are just examples. Like I mentioned, we don't want to now deal with just the immediate issues. What's coming up? And how are we going to arm ourselves intellectually to deal with those issues? This is what we need to do. So it's not just about how do we deal with the issues that are coming from the US and how are we going to deal with them now. We need people that are going to be strategic thinkers. We need people that are not just learning and we're learning the basics and that's it. We need people to go beyond that. And for me, I have this this medical problem. My medical problem is called chronic optimism. Have you heard of this problem? Right? I'm always optimistic, right? So when I come to Malaysia and I see young people like yourself, what I see is a great intellectual capital. I see people that inshallah can take on what's the intellectual challenges that are coming and to say we're not just going to learn how to deal with them, we're going to go beyond that. And this is my optimism, right? My wife is actually a pessimist, and she's a pessimist, I'm an optimist, so that's why we're still married, right? And strange, I found out her blood type was B positive. And I thought that was very strange. Like, your blood type is B positive, but you're negative, right? Anyway, but what I'm trying to say is that you have an immense opportunity here, as you're in Malaysia, as you're in Kuala Lumpur, as you have mashayikh that are able to now guide you to now meet the challenges and go beyond the challenges. You have to skate to where the puck is coming. And that's something that's part and parcel of your responsibility in the place that you're at, what Allah has blessed you with, and the opportunity that Allah has blessed you with. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq in all of this, and to make us people who will be able to meet the challenges and surpass the challenges. Allah ta'ala.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much.